And a pleasant good afternoon to all of you Seminoles fans. This is a nice Saturday in Tallahassee. Saturday, September the 6th, where Florida State hosts East Texas A&M, and they bludgeon the hell out of East Texas A&M. What a difference that 120 minutes of football can make. And we are almost done officially in the fourth quarter. Not quite yet on Bobby Bowden Field, but we signed on early here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show, built by T-Spark Enterprises. He is Gene Williams. My name is Tom Lang, director Nick Carlisle behind the scenes. We welcome you here to Warchant TV. Hit the thumbs up as you enter, because today's a good day to be a Nole. Gene, you could feel it before the game kicked off that the fog was lifted last week with the decisive 31-17 victory over Alabama. Folks were happy to be showing up at Hotel Indigo, walking into the stadium, and they are going to go home happy if they didn't already hit the tailgate lots about an hour and a half ago. How are you this afternoon, good sir?
Doing really well, Tom. It's nice when we are just a little under 2 minutes away from the largest margin of victory in FSU football history. That's always a good thing. We like to see that. And I think it also helps because there's some validation a little bit. Look, I know you can't take much when you're playing a downtrodden FCS team, but a good, really elite good team, this is what they do to these kind of teams. We've seen these struggling Florida State teams that might have won this game 42-17 or something and kind of muddle through. So it shows you whether it was guys hitting on defense, closing their gaps, guys on offense making that little extra move, making the extra block they needed to do, making the right read. They were doing all the right things, not committing silly penalties. They were focused for the entire game, and that includes the second and third stringers. They kept pouring it on, so it's very encouraging. It just further solidifies it. Last weekend wasn't a fluke. This is a really good freaking football team.
Agreed. We'll get into the talking points about the game here in just a moment. But we do want to note, for those of you that are watching on Warchant TV right now, if you're not, you're listening on the podcast, I'll fill you in a little bit. But check the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. We are going to change that, take our cartoons off of the screen. And here you go. The number 35, as you saw in the sweatbands today for Florida State, and a QR code on the bottom of the screen. That QR code, if you want to scan your television, I know a lot of you out there watch this on your television, not on your smartphones or your mobile devices. Scan that QR code. It's going to take you directly to the GoFundMe for Ethan Pritchard's family. Ethan Pritchard, who, of course, was injured and is now still in the hospital in critical but stable condition. Stable condition is something we need to continue to say for the last 6-7 days after a gunshot wound. And the GoFundMe has now raised over 6 figures at this point.
Wow, 113,000. Wow.
The Florida State fan community has come together, and we can still do better and come together even more for a senseless tragedy that sees Florida State freshman linebacker Ethan Pritchard still in the hospital. So if you can support us, and by that I mean support the Florida State family, this is how you do it. QR code is on the screen, and also if you are in the YouTube chat, specifically on YouTube, we have pinned a link to the GoFundMe in the comments. As for today's game, and feel free at any point, anybody share if you donated, if you would just want to inspire others to donate more to help this young man and his family. We appreciate it more than any words can express. To the game today, Gene, the engine got revved up a little bit after a couple of penalties helped Florida State score. You had a targeting call that helped move the chains, get Florida State in the red zone. And then there was a fourth down play where they went some sort of wildcat direct snap to Usman Chroma, came up short in the fourth down, but the defense was offsides for East Texas A&M. Florida State ends up scoring the next play with Gavin Sawchuk. And then from there, it's off to the races, and Florida State scored touchdowns on their first 10 drives of the game. Wow. 10 for 10 for Florida State on the way to 70-0. And one of those top figures that helped Florida State pave the way to 70-0, none other than Deuce Robinson. Today is a good day in the Robinson household. Our thoughts, thumbs up. Congratulations for Dominic Robinson, because son, 160 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of this game, Gene.
That is something, man. That's the thing. We knew he was good, but to see him play legitimately, and you could see that wingspan. It's one thing, as you know, you can have a tall, big guy that plays small. He uses all of that wingspan. He reached out for a couple of those passes were beautiful, and of course the one-hander when the defender was holding his other arm back was just a special play. So he's making himself some money, I think, in the NFL right now, because he looked like an NFL wide receiver. So it's good to see him break loose. I know Squirrel got his hand banged up, so we're hoping that he's okay. Hope we'll get some more information on that. Hopefully he's back in time, at least for Virginia and Miami. We'll see how that goes. But, yeah, it was just special. Like you said, that first drive, it was a little iffy. But the next 9 TD drives were effortless. There was no resistance whatsoever. Florida State moved the ball up and down the field, whether that was running, passing, doing whatever they wanted.
There it is. Brett in the chat says D-Rob's one-handed catch was magnificent. Yes, I suppose that's right. The new D-Rob is Deuce Robinson. Florida State did a lot today. I saw there was a question in the chat right now on Warchant TV. So many of you that are filing in. Welcome in, everybody. Florida State, 77-3 is the final for this game, the largest margin of victory in program history. Very nice. They had never done 7 in a row to start the game with touchdowns, 7 for 7. There was another part in the chat. I think it was a comment/question that says, how many players played today? 90 plus. There's Brett.
Oh.
How many guys played today? I'm guessing 90 plus. It was anybody
Probably
you
right.
want to see. If they were eligible and they were healthy, they played today. And that started in the second quarter. And we can talk about that, about maybe one of the first guys that came off the bench in the second quarter today. That is low-key one of the highlights of the game in terms of storylines as we go forward. But just about everybody in the running back room, the receiver room, if you wanted to see somebody, you got it today. And I thought it was also important that the offensive line started rotating in some new bodies. We knew Jake Rizzi was going to get out there because of the press he got in preseason camp. But to see Lucas Simmons and Andre Otto and others get out there, this was one of those games like the old days, Gene. You remember these when Florida State's games against lesser opponents were about what young players impressed you. That's what today was about in large part.
Yeah, it really was. And it was this is one of the things going into the game. I was sitting with a couple buddies saying, I'm going to be curious because we kind of knew it was going to play out, maybe not to this extent, but it was going to be a situation where a lot of the backups were going to get in pretty early. And I'm very curious to see who is that number 2 quarterback that's going to come out in this game, because we heard so many good things about Kevin Sperry preseason. And you see why. I really like what I saw. Final stats, 4 out of 5, 2 touchdown passes, had over 20 yards rushing in the game too. He looks pretty now. Brock Glenn came in, had some good moments too, but I really like what I'm seeing out of this freshman. So that was this is part of the thing. We love when a game's over at halftime, Tom, and being in this, whether if you're really into Florida State or any football team, you love to sit there and get the backups. You love to see some of these freshmen get out there, see what they can do in a real game experience. So this was old time Florida State fun.
It was indeed. And if you've got thoughts on that, we're going to put up the phone number in just a little bit. Because the phone lines are already full. You guys are funny. You save the phone number, and we love that about you. You're so enthusiastic. The phone lines are already full. I see you out there. I see you, Wes and Gene and Marlon and Ralph and Eric and Josh. They're all ready to go. We're going to get there in a little bit. This is going to be a program that's driven mostly by you today because it's dealer's choice. It's one of those great things when you win by this many points, 74 points, never been done in the program's history. Well, I guess maybe it's tied because they were up 74-0 in 19.
Yeah, technically it's tied for the largest margin of victory, and they were close. The 80 is the most points scored in that Idaho game back in 2013. So they're up there. But yeah, that was. I know you have to put the walk-on quarterback in there, and he fubbed that play, and that ended up leading them to that field goal. But the shutout, the spike baseball, I think it's been 10 years since we've had that. I was looking forward to that. I
wanted the spike baseball. We were talking about this before we signed on. A couple of the callers got the back end of the conversation, but the kick is the right play. Gene.
We agree.
Yeah.
You're that coach, and I know everybody here's. You need to go for it. It's impossible to win the game. You're not winning the game. You don't want that albatross of a big 0 next to your team name going in the box score. And I would do the same thing about that coach. And if people are out there being honest with yourself, you would do the same thing. You're not going to want that 0 because if you don't kick that field goal, it's a shutout.
Florida State, extremely impressive on the day. We're going to let you drive the way you wish to go. Director Nick Carlisle behind the scenes. We've got a couple of contributions already into the program, and it's led by a man from Alabama, but he's a Florida man in Alabama, and we appreciate his contribution. As he says, the last time FSU looked this dominant through 2 games was 2013. I'm taking 30 seconds to fantasize that this team makes it to the Natty. Then it's time to lock back in with the Gus Bus. Oh, I'm glad you said the magic words. We have something for you, Florida man in Alabama. Hashtag Angry Mike and Killer White. Tony's nickname needs work. Yeah, fair enough. It does, Florida man in Alabama. But let's take more than 30 seconds to fantasize about that as we play this cool video that Nick made about the Gus Bus.
I just got my ass run over by the Gus Bus.
Fantastic.
Well done, Nick.
Oh, my goodness. And while we're doing the graphical game, Yes.
Yep.
Self-applause. He hit the applause for himself. Let's see the graphical game for Gene. The Drinko-meter. Now, I didn't
Oh, yes.
Gene, it changes every week based upon the opponent.
Correct.
So
And the line.
Okay. And the line. So today, it looks like we've been top line 2 games in a row. But as you can see, I'll start. If Florida State won by fewer than 35 points, it would have been water. If it was 35-44, it would have been a 0% beer. If it was 45-59, it would have been a light beer. But today, 60 plus. Last time I checked with the math, 74 is more than 60. So that means craft beer is on the docket for you today, Gene. So what specific craft beer is on the docket?
That's right. So I know last week we broke out the bourbon. We're not doing the brown liquor for FCS teams. We're gonna. I don't want to be doing that. So, but I love me a good craft beer. So we did. If we can show switch to the camera, I will show. I'm going with a classic. And that's something your cohort loves one of these. So Jeff and I have knocked down a lot of these babies over the year. Maduro, Brown Ale, Cigar City, man.
Oh,
just a classic right there.
That is an absolute classic. And when craft beer was on that meteoric rise as an industry, and cheers to Eugene. I'm going just water today. I might get a drink at the end, but the pregame at Indigo was the drinks were flowing. So I hit the pause button. People were happy. You wouldn't believe it. Like typically a noon kick, there's a decent crowd there for a noon kick. You do the 10 a.m. meet and greet. People ready to go today, Gene. They were so energetic. It's amazing what a win over Alabama can do for you, and that's really cool. But when craft beer was on the rise, Corner Pocket used to have it on the tap, and I remember getting 22s of that and having like 3 or 4 mugs of 22s. That is a young man's game.
Well, back in the old, when Jeff and I did our shows, the Man Cave show back in the day, man, this was one of the staples.
Yep.
Jeff and I would be knocking those puppies back left and right. And that was when I would ever make a trip down to Tampa, man, it was a must stop by Cigar City. You had to do that. So yeah, no, I saw it the other day at Publix, and I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time. So yeah. So this is we're throwing back. This looked like a 1990s Florida State team. So let's go ahead and throw back on the craft beer.
That is a very, very good call. Next up in terms of contributions on the show, let's see who will it be and what do they have to say. No Kev. Oh, he's back. Okay. So I didn't flash up the picture last week because of the brown liquor got the best of me over that 2 hour and 45-minute show. Y'all might have missed an F-bomb as we signed off too, which was kind of fun. He's talking about the Red Solo Cup, and he's talking about this right here. Understand the hang on, sorry. Let's wipe that back up. What do you say? Understand the competition, but Sperry looked clean today. Yes, he did. So that is a hidden headline from today's game. I know we just mentioned him, Gene. Our own Jeff Cameron was speaking about this week. We were talking about who was going to be the second quarterback off the sideline. He was pushing for Sperry. I got a text as soon as 9 came in to play in the game, and Kevin Sperry looked good. You mentioned this, not just in the passing game. He had the touchdown to Croma on the wheel, but then they called a design run for him too. He also had a scramble run. He looks like he fits naturally in this offense, and clearly Gus Malzahn and Mike Norvell trust this freshman enough to bring him out second because they know the message that sends not only to the people in the stands, but Gene, to Brock Glenn himself, that you go to a freshman second.
Yeah, that's just one of the biggest intrigues of this game, who is going to be out there. And what we were hearing, we're not out of practice these days. We were hearing so many good things about what he was doing in practice, but you're hearing one thing and the coach is validating is another. So by them putting him out there first in that situation tells me what we're hearing is right. They really like what they're seeing out of the freshman. And he went out there and performed. That was, to me, that first pass in the end zone. Now, the guy was fairly tightly covered. You could see there's a little extra juice on that, Tom. But, I mean, he's a freshman in his first game, a little fired up, but he settled down, made some real nice passes. So I'm real excited about that. And like you said, I think he's good and fits what Gus is trying to do. We still don't know. I know it's a popular thread every other week. Will Tommy Castellanos have eligibility for next year? We don't know. He will have to apply for hardship to get that extra year. They've been pretty liberal about that lately, but anybody who's been around Florida State knows the NCAA is notoriously negative to Florida State when it comes to getting those exemptions. So we'll see if he's back or not, but it's very good to know that Sperry is in there, and hopefully this will be a recurring theme, Tom. We'll see more and more of him as Florida State wins a lot of these big games, and he's able to get a little juice under because he may be the starter next year for all we know.
Could very well be. And that's something to watch, too. When you run the quarterback as much as Florida State does, the backup is very important. And so to designate potentially Kevin Sperry, unless there's something that Mike Norvell does to hedge in his postgame, which we'll see, That is quite the designation this early. That is that's somebody earning their stripes. Next up in terms of comments here on Warchant Game Day, powered and built by T-Spark Enterprises, will be
Here comes the money.
Oh!
Here comes the money.
Z-Chan, the official DMD of Warchant TV, says, I cannot believe how disciplined this team looks. This team is impressive. On to the next one. Yeah, that was part of the conversation about today, Gene, was how buttoned up would they be? Would they be down to business? Would they be nasty and physical? And check across the board. I think the only thing, if you're going to nitpick, and I really won't, I'll be quick about it, is that it took a couple of penalties to get you going and trigger that first drive. But then from that point on, I mean, it was an absolute machine from Florida State on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you scored 10 straight touchdowns, and you basically shut out a team, except for, you have some, I guess they're not technically walk-ons anymore, but you shut them out. You got one of the largest margins of victory of all time in the team. It's hard to be negative about what you saw out there. So, no, you're right. And that was the thing that impressed me last week, probably the most of anything, was guys were in position. They weren't making stupid penalties. When they got a play, they made it when they had the chance to do that. So those kind of things. And it carried over, even though you would think mentally after that emotional win and you're playing a downtrodden FCS team, it would be understandable if they were a little off in this game, but they really weren't. They were sharp for the entire game.
It was a very impressive day at Doak Campbell Stadium. Injury stuff, I see a lot of questions about that in the chat. We'll get you reports from Mike Norvell post-game. It's too early to determine. I mean, we all heard the report coming out of halftime about Squirrel White. We'll see what we can get you across the board in terms of injury news for Florida State. What I can tell you now is to the 2,200 across the multimedia footprint of Warchant.com. Welcome in. You are watching the Warchant Game Day post-game call-in show built by T-Spark Enterprises. Over 1,100 of you right now on YouTube. Do us a solid and just hit that thumbs up if you can. It's just a click away. We very much appreciate that because it helps us find more FSU fans who are looking for our coverage, and share it. If you enjoy what is happening here on Warchant TV and you enjoy what the Noles are doing, please share our channel. That like button helps other people find us. I do want to have an initial word of thanks to our sponsor, T-Spark Enterprises. Here's something most folks don't know about. When you hire someone to work on your roof, are they actually part of the company? Or are they just a subcontractor? With T-Spark, you're getting trained professionals who are real employees. That means they're insured, certified, and go through safety courses before ever stepping on your roof. If something goes wrong with your subcontractor, you could be the one on the hook. But with T-Spark, you have peace of mind, and that is worth everything. They are licensed. They are insured. T-Spark Enterprises, we conquer all peaks. We're going to get to the phone lines in just a second, but the next contributor will be, let's see, is it Joshua? Could be. Yes, it is. Joshua says today's MVP, Mac Chimento, for superb bench play. There you go. Yeah, didn't need the 10. Thank you very much for the contribution. 10 for 10 on touchdowns to start the day, Gene. And it was a forced fumble. Well done by East Texas A&M, but a forced fumble against the fourth-string quarterback that took Florida State's streak of touchdowns down from 10 consecutive drives. Just check all the boxes today.
Well, but it'd be an 11 out of 12, right?
Right. 11 out of 12.
They did score there at the end. You know what? Again, the thing that kind of a little bit like if we want to play this comparing score games, we know SMU is a ranked team, right? And they're supposed to be pretty good. They won 42-13 in the first game. I mean, again, if you want to try to gauge how good Florida State is, and it's hard early in the season to really know a lot of these things, but I mean, compare the two situations, and this was a lot different than what SMU did last week against this team.
Totally so. SMU played with their food a little bit. Florida State did not. Florida State ate their food, and then they ate some more, and then they ate some more. We are going to take a quick break and then get right to the phone lines because it's time to hear from you. The queue is going to be Wes, Gene, and Marlon are the first three on the docket. We will be back in 90 seconds here on Warchant Game Day, built by T-Spark Enterprises.
It rains 130 days a year in Tallahassee, which is 1.7 million gallons of water coming down, plus 500 pounds of leaves piling up on your roof, and maybe a tree branch or two. We spend 23.5 hours a day thinking about roofs. We've driven 60,000 miles in a year serving our customers. We've climbed 2,000 ladders to install over 100,000 shingles. You've got one roof. Let T-Spark worry about the rest.
Good times abound if you're a Florida State football fan, as we are here on the Warchant Game Day post-game call-in show. So let's, that's the name in the title. Let's use that function right now. To the phone lines we go. It is Wes in the Villages, Mr. Promo himself. Welcome to the program. Wes, go ahead.
Yo, Gene and Tom, man, what a difference a year makes, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I watched the Warchant report, and like you guys, nobody had 77 points on their bingo card. So what a great day. What a great opportunity for a lot of the backups to get a lot of good reps. Hopefully, fingers crossed, prayers up, the squirrel's okay. And with that being said, my question to you guys before I cut the promo is, after seeing what Deuce Robinson did, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but in my opinion, you got to look at him, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But you got to say he's a hybrid of Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. I'll have you guys give your thoughts on that after I hang up. But I just want everybody out there to make sure that you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to warchant.com, the absolute best in the business. And you boys, I'll see you in 2 weeks for Kent State. Y'all be good, and go Noles.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Wes. We appreciate that call. Yeah, what is Deuce Robinson? Who would you liken him to? It's a fair question to ask. He has a lot of speed, I think. I think even more direct, straight ahead speed than Keon Coleman did.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt we're going to roll through again some of the photos that were taken by our photographer, Bob Myers. Thanks for all of these images from today's game. You'll see it in about 30 seconds here as we go through the gallery. That adjustment that Deuce makes, Gene, on that touchdown in the end zone where it's one-handed, that's not only good hands, that's body control, intelligence, all of it. Deuce looks to be extremely polished. That first long touchdown is a broken coverage, busted coverage on East Texas A&M's part, but he has to go and earn that throw from Tommy for touchdown number 2, and you'll see it again here in a second. The photo is zoomed in on the football, and then here it is. Deuce, hey, Dad, Dominic, take a look at this photo. Look at this moment here for Deuce Robinson. A complete performance, 160 yards for Deuce in the first quarter. I saw some reports say that is a Florida State record. Regardless, and Dominic told me, if you have any record wearing that jersey as a wide receiver, you've done something. What a performance for Deuce Robinson, and he was the first story of so many stories that happened here this Saturday.
Yeah, Wes brought up a couple good comparisons there, and it's just, I think in terms of the size and the body control, yeah, a lot of very similar comparisons, but I think you nailed it, Tom. He's got a different gear that those guys didn't have, so he can stretch a defense, and we saw that in his first touchdown. He can get behind the defense and make big plays, but yeah, the body control, obviously the hands, a couple of those plays, and not even the ones that he scored on, but some other catches he had where he just really stretched out. When you've got that big frame and those long arms and you're able to do that, that's NFL worthy. So that was really impressive. And that was one of the things going into this I was hoping to see, because we didn't get to see a whole lot of Deuce and what he can do against Alabama. So Florida State flexed its muscles a little bit in this one and showed we're not just Tommy Castellanos running around. They've got some really good talent in this team. And of course, just going on aside, to see Danzy do it again, I was almost like, Tom, we almost like maybe not even show this so much until we start playing Miami and start unleashing that a little bit more. But man, that run was also special.
Track speed, week in, week out, and whether they actually give it to him, because you know what, Gene, on that touchdown run, they've got a run to the right for the quarterback with a lead blocker, and the numbers are there. You best believe that look will be presented against either Virginia or Miami, and Tommy's going to keep it in that situation. That's the play that they have off of it, and they did put that on tape. As we have another contribution that we'll get to in just a second, but let's head back to the phone lines first, and we will go to one of our favorites here. We spoke to him last week, and now we speak to him again after a blowout. It's Gene in Ocala. Welcome to the program, Gene in Ocala. Gene, are you with us?
Uh-oh.
We might have
Can
lost.
you hear me?
Yes,
there he is.
Go for it, Gene.
Hey, what's going on, T. Lizzie? What's going on, Gene? How's everything going?
Happy campus.
It's fantastic, Gene.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're not just going to call whenever we play the big bad Alabama. We're going to call whenever we put the smack down on East Texas A&M. It was just a great game. This is one of those things to whenever you say that we can go out and we can perform at a high level. I don't know. Tom, we look at the trench play and it didn't fall off, whether we were playing last week, but that second unit was still pushing too. And that was something we looked at Sperry coming in, but who else on the second unit was going to come in and just, I mean, if I would have had a roster chart, it would have been better because I'm trying to keep up with the numbers on who was coming in, who was showing out. It was a great, great game. I was also trying to look at the score between Virginia and North Carolina State because I think that's going to be a Friday night. Going up there is going to be something different. But then also looking at what Texas Tech did to Kent State, 64 to whatever. They put 64 on them. So just an all-around great game for us. My only question to you is it really smart to have Squirrel White back there whenever he needs to be going down the field and creating that separation? And now he could be injured, maybe. But we're not going to put any clouds on this great victory. Go Noles. Thank y'all for what y'all do. I appreciate you. And can't wait to see y'all that corner pocket in about a couple of weeks on that Friday night so we can toast it up. Gene, I'm going to have a little 1800 tequila.
Ooh.
Go ahead and smash on down. Let that, hopefully I don't have that hour of ooh. But outstanding game. Go Noles.
Great call, Gene. Great
Thanks,
call.
Gene.
And I'll give folks just like a 3-second taste of the Ira shots calling card that we have on the Smash. There you go. You get the point. So that's the life.
What, Sunday night or Monday night? You guys.
That's Monday. That'll be Monday night. Don Ira's shots for glory will be available then. It sounds like Gene and Ocala will be enjoying those particular shots. Yeah, this is the legacy of having some trouble with punt returners, that you have to put a player like Squirrel White back there to be your punt returner. And Gene, he was a stabilizing force early in this game. You thought, oh, that's the way it's supposed to look at punt returner. But now, obviously, potentially extra shots taken on the body, and Squirrel will see what his status is. Reports from people in the stadium and people that were watching that there might have been some kind of brace on his hand with the hand injury. I don't think we're going to get a definitive from Mike Norvell in the postgame. If we do, we will relay that to you here on the postgame show. Something to stay tuned for on warchant.com.
Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with it because it wasn't working before. I mean, you saw that you could have lost the Alabama game because of your deficiencies there, so you need to put other people out there. And Squirrel, obviously, we saw he looked more confident doing it. You know, you run those risks sometimes. You can't play scared. So I have absolutely no problem with the decision of having him out there. It's unfortunate. Let's hopefully, if he's hurt, it's minor. Hopefully he won't be out very long, and we'll keep tabs on that. But yeah, I don't have an issue. I mean, I think we're looking for stuff to complain about at this point, but just hope he's all right.
Agreed. We have another contribution, significantly so, here on Warchant TV, and who would that be?
Here comes the money.
Here we
go. Here comes the money.
No surprise, it's James
Woo!
B. Thank you so much, James B. It was great to see you yesterday at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 100.00. That is the way Florida State should beat a team like that. Go Noles.
Yeah,
I think
they almost did.
Point. I think that's actually supposed to be an exclamation, not a question mark, so we'll roll with that. They could have dropped 130 today if they wanted to, and I'm not exaggerating, Gene. They could have dropped 100.
Oh, if they left the starters in there, absolutely.
Yep, 100%. This is the way it should look. You should be more physical than a like opponent. And then when you play somebody who's not a like opponent, you should be physical and dominant. And Florida State's been that. Through 120 minutes of football, could you have scripted it any better, Gene? You're talking about quick math here, 108 to 20 for the first two games for Florida State. That'll do.
Wow. Total yards, 729 yards in this game. And I don't know, they were probably close to 500 at half. It was pretty high in the 400s, I think, which is freaking ridiculous. You just don't see that in college football these days. So I think they said it was the most yards and a half so far this season in college football. And there's a lot of games played in college football. So that is really freaking impressive. Yeah. Again, you couldn't, absent a couple guys being nicked up, no, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect first 2 weeks of college football. Now they get to rest a little bit. You get another one with Kent State, and then it gets real. Then we'll see what this team really has.
And Gene mentioned on the calls that it was a slobber knocker between Virginia and North Carolina State. I don't know if that means they're good or not, but they were scoring left and right.
What was the final? I didn't see the last drive. Who won that? I know NC State was ahead with 2 minutes left, but I didn't see who won that.
So the final, let's see, NC State 35, Virginia 31 was the final.
I was hoping Virginia would win that. Oh,
So
well.
there you go. The Virginia running back
Good
at
win.
150 yards, Taylor on 17 carries. He had 3 scores in that game. Should be interesting. We'll watch that and we'll break it down more as we get a couple weeks from now ahead of that Friday night in Charlottesville. If you are in the queue right now for phone callers, you are safe. You have made the cut. Congratulations. This is not going to be a 2-hour, 45-minute rendition of the Warchant postgame show. We love y'all, but we're going to watch some college football this afternoon with you. So we're going to go for another half an hour, 45 minutes or so. So come on in, get settled. It's time for your first social of the day. I'm going to hold this up. I was talking to a couple people at Corner Pocket. I was going to prove to them that I had a McSorley's mug. That's the oldest bar in New York City, 1854. This might have been procured illegally. That's allegedly. I'm not going to speak to that other than to say allegedly. But you know who you are out there watching on Warchant TV right now. Have your first social. Gene is enjoying a craft beer. What are you enjoying? Let us know in the comments section right now. And it's time to head back to the phone lines where we're going to go to Marlon in Miami. Marlon, always enjoyed your calls. We didn't have a lot of positive ones last year. Happy to have you aboard today. Welcome to the program.
Tom, Gene, how y'all doing? You know, for the past 2 years, I was harping on an online play, and I hearing you guys all off season. A lot of people are saying that Coach Herb Ham wasn't the first choice, but by God, was he the right choice? Because the last week I didn't get on with you guys, but last week we killed Bama in the trenches as far as O-line play and D-line play, but mainly in the O-line play. Those boys are all first rounders, and we destroyed it. We put it on them. And I loved it today too, especially the second and third team guys. They were moving butts, and I love that kind of play. And you know, I'm getting warmed up here listening to these clowns, these candy canes, but they're scared. Because I went to the Notre Dame game wearing my stuff proudly, and they're watching us. They know that we're coming, and thank you, Lord, for Coach Herb Ham. Finally, we have somebody who can move and motivate and develop these O-linemen because, boy, these boys are looking good. Love you guys. I'm going to be up there. I'm going to get you guys drinks on me and CP. Hey, I'm blessed.
Thank you so much, Marlon. We appreciate it. I know that usually the road trip he takes, if I recall, because Marlon's been calling for years now, the road trip he takes to this game is with 2 or 3 Canes fans in the car. So that's not fun. They're his friends.
You imagine that ride back. Hopefully it's a fun ride back.
That's the whole thing. When you travel with somebody who's rooting for somebody else to a game, could be around the corner, could be from Miami to Tallahassee. It's the ride home. That's the whole thing. What's it going to be? And Marlon is clearly charged up for that matchup. I think we all are too. And you should be on a day like today when you're reminded again that last week was no dream. It was no dream. Florida State was more physical than Alabama. And then you asked yourself, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. But are they mature enough to do that again against a team they know they're better than? Yes. The answer is yes. And that's a good sign for culture, Gene.
If I can jump in there, I started thinking about this, and we can jump ahead a little bit. We can have fun. It's a bye week. We got Kent State. That game in a few weeks, Florida and Miami, is going to be so intriguing to me because there's so much on the line. I can, I've changed. I used to probably go for Florida over, but I think I've changed. I've disliked Miami just because of their fans even more now. And plus the fact Miami wins that game, and I know a couple of our guys on the message board broke down the games. That's got to be game day here.
Yes.
So you'd have to have game day here, which means you get, Herb Street is probably desperately rooting for Florida in that game.
I think he is. That's correct. Yeah,
I want to come to Tallahassee.
Yeah, Texas and Florida is the competition that week for game day. Yes.
Yeah, but if Florida loses, how can you put them on? You just can't.
That's
now if they did, it would be the ultimate. Well, the second most ultimate SEC bias. The first was a snub. But yeah, it's fascinating to me how that's going to be and what that game could be in Doak Campbell Stadium here in a few weeks. It's exciting to think about the prospects of that.
Yeah, Florida Man in Alabama asked me on the JCS this week, what would the sign be if for that game day if it came here? First of all, I wouldn't go. But if I did, the sign would say, go away. That's all it would. Like,
I like it.
We now go to our guy. He's Ralph in Hawaii, but he's the 850 Ralph for these last couple of weeks. He's been in town. I believe he's going to the Bucks game tomorrow in Atlanta. Well-traveled in 2 weeks here in Tallahassee, God's country, as he would call it, I know. Now 2-0. How those season tickets feeling, Ralph?
Oh man, I gave away 3 Alabama tickets and 3 Miami tickets because I want everyone else out there who doesn't have the possibility to enjoy what we are experiencing. This is so damn awesome. 4 really quick thoughts, and I'll hang up and let everybody else enjoy their afternoon. But number one, first and foremost, thanks and all grace and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who brought me home safely and will return me to my family safely on Tuesday. Number 2, we have wide receivers that can catch the damn ball. How about that? A line that can block it up. How about that? Man, this team is so fun to watch. 3, meeting all of you guys once again. I know we've known each other for a couple years now. Gene, Tom, Corey, Aslan, Ira, Michael, who I went to high school with, Matt, Jeff, just everybody, man. It was so nice to see y'all and the new guys that I got to meet on this trip, Gene and Ocala, David and Jacob at Indigo this morning, and everyone else who I got to meet, and my friends on Warchant that I've been texting with, Troy Noel, who was in the texting during the game. It's so awesome, this Warchant Ohana, and how we greet each other and how we love each other. That is what it's all about. Number 4, go damn Noles. Aloha.
Aloha. Love it.
Mark that one, Nick. That's going on the breakout. That's a great call, Ralph.
There you go. He's 2 for 2 on the season. Was for Spartanville. Like Florida State today. If they had the ball, they scored a touchdown for the better part of 3 hours. Way to go, Spartanville 71. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I believe within shouting distance of Mr. Spartanville would be one Cincinnati Eric. Eric Angel, welcome to the program. Go ahead. Let's hear what you got to say.
Oh, gee, what's going on? How about them Noles, man? Man, we are hot. 2-0.
2-0. We're as hot as this afternoon in Tallahassee, man.
Yes, sir.
What would you say?
We're as hot as this afternoon is in Tallahassee, man.
Oh, it's hot, man. Woo! Yeah, I tell you what, that's a freshman quarterback, Kevin. What's his last name?
Sperry.
That dude is the real deal. If Castellanos doesn't get an extra year, that guy he gonna be something. Yeah. Yeah, it was great performance, dominating. We put up a 77 burger, so everybody go get you a burger at Whataburger. Oh no!
There you go. Unofficial
no.
read. They have kind of sponsored us for this season in like a tertiary way, so we'll take it.
Yeah, you're okay. That's a good drop. We can drop Whataburger in there.
Promo read.
Which Tom for the first time to throw out last week. And so as you know, I went back to Corner Pocket after the post-game show last week. Had a few more, and yes, I did the Whataburger, the 1:32 a.m. Whataburger. Yes, I did. It's been a minute since I've done that, but it was glorious.
I swear to all things holy that Bill Hayes should get royalties from the Whataburger.
Oh, absolutely.
Corner Pocket. The amount of money that the Corner Pocket has made the Whataburger from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. is absurd over the 15, 16 years that it's been around. Yeah. It's always tasty as well. I did have a Whataburger myself this week. We're not going to overdo the reads or the mentions for Whataburger, but good job, Eric. Very, very good call. We now go to Tuscaloosa, and we're talking to Jacob in Tuscaloosa. Last time we talked to him was in November of last year. Go ahead, Jacob. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Tom and Gene. I'm just calling to say all I've heard all season was, could Tommy pass the ball? Is he a good thrower? And I think he showed in this game, I know it's East Texas A&M, I think he showed that he can throw the ball downfield and he can be a good thrower. If he can throw like this, I think we can beat Miami and Clemson.
That's a good point. He's been on point so far. He was 9 of 14 last week. He was 8 of 11 this week. That's funny. Through 2 games, he's thrown 25 passes, and he's completed 17 of them.
He played less than a half.
Correct. Right. It's just a funny statistical thing. Yeah. But he was for 237 today, 3 touchdowns. If you care about quarterback rating in a setting like this, college doesn't put a cap on it. His quarterback rating was 343.7.
Which, if you're not familiar, that's pretty good.
Yeah, one of the most important stats today is 1, 0 or 1. 0, you're not healthy coming out of the game. 1, you are healthy coming out of the game. He officially had 4 carries for 7 yards, but I think the whole thing today, Gene, was manage the offense, work on some of the aerial things because you only threw it 14 times last week against 40-plus runs, and then get your ass off the field healthy and smiling. And that's what today was for Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah, and what's really exciting about that is, like you said, because he showed that part of his game, Jacob brought that up, that you're able to go vertical, spread teams out a little bit. You know, if you look at the Alabama film, teams are going, okay, this is fine. We're just not going to let this guy run. We're going to stack the box. You saw what happens if you go one-on-one with Deuce. It ain't going to work. You're going to get your ass toasted left and right. So I think what this sends a message, it spreads the field out, allows Gus Malzahn to run that whole offense the way he wants to run it. So to me, that was great to see that they are a fully diverse team. They can do it all. And that's really encouraging.
Yeah, this is where if you run the ball successfully, you're going to get singles and you're going to get chances to shoot the ball down the field, which is what Gus wants to do. If he wants to get the ball down the field, he wants to do so. Deep passes and obviously explosive plays left and right today, both through the air and on the ground. A Yui, thank you very much for joining us. Yui Soli, a new member here on Warchant Premier on YouTube. We appreciate you joining the fold. Use those emojis. Go ahead, show the people in the chat, the logos, all of them. The traditional logo, we have the retro logo, the FS, all of it. Go ahead, show it off in the chat. Thank you for becoming a member. I just want to thank a couple others. Never Lose Your Nerd, who says they did what a great team, should do. Go Noles. Thank you, Never Lose Your Nerd. And then Brock also says, only stat I had to see was 9 opponent helmets coming off on a hit. Go Noles.
Yeah, what was with East Texas A&M and all the helmets coming off the whole game?
I don't know. Chin straps aren't ready for power football. Soon to be power 2 in a not too distant future for Florida State, I think. Nathan, thank you for the super sticker. If you have a question, we'll try and hunt down that particular question, but we very much appreciate the contribution. We will go back to the phone lines now. Richard in Cummings, Georgia. Richard in Cummings, Georgia, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how we doing? That was a great game. That reminded me of my senior year back in '99 and 2000 the way they played. So one thing I kind of wanted to mention was, as I saw with the way the young guys got in and played, you saw how the team responded to them. I wonder if maybe that building of confidence, getting playing time, and knowing that everyone has their back and making it a family, as they kind of mentioned a few times, if maybe that makes guys think twice about going into the portal in the offseason because they're not getting enough playing time, because they know, hey, look, I'm a part of this and I'm going to get to, I'm going to get a play and there's going to be a guy behind me. I can coach up also. Just want to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, appreciate the call as always, my friend. Gene, any thoughts on that particular idea from Richard?
Well, I mean, you're less up doing the portal when your team is winning. I mean, everything spreads from that. It's really good for everyone involved. Yes, you're going to get more playing time when they're getting ahead of teams. Even if you're a backup, you're going to get more opportunities. So sure, even like I know there've been rumors about Cam Davis being in the portal. I was a little surprised when he finally got out there, got a couple carries in this game. I think whether 7 or 8 running backs got carries in this game. Some kind of crazy stat on that too. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's much better. Again, I think it goes to the coaches, the kind of guys you brought in, the kind of guys you ran off. And there's a much better chemistry on this team. And when you're with people you like and you're coached up and you're winning games, you don't want to go in the transfer portal.
If you had Usman Chroma at 5 carries, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought it would have been more today, but he had 5 carries for 37 yards. Chroma, of course, had the touchdown catch from Kevin Sperry. That was a 43-yard touchdown reception. Florida State's leading rusher today was Sam Singleton because he had the 53-yarder, the explosive play, 4 carries for 82 yards. And then the second leading rusher for Florida State was Zay Parks. And good for Zay Parks to get out there. So many guys today made plays that they've been dreaming all their lives, putting in the work. Monday through Friday, thankless jobs. I think they practice on Sundays these days too. But Zay Parks, 10 carries, 61 yards, and a score. Congratulations to him. And once we see that participation report, Gene, you might need like 3 message board posts tomorrow on warchant.com to get in all the players that played yesterday. There are a lot of Noles who, without a situation like this, don't get in the stat book, but they did today. And that's always something to smile about here. We hope you're smiling with us here on Warchant TV as we have, nearly 1,200 of you on YouTube, 2,700 across our multimedia footprint. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you would, please. It helps other Florida State fans find our programming here on Warchant TV. We now head back to the phone lines for one of our favorites. It's Josh in Long Island. Josh, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Tommy Gino! we're still back 77-3. I feel, I hate to be the guy to say it first, but I'll say it. I'm feeling a little bit of special feeling with this team right now. I'm starting to see it. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is, and it's maybe not bad news for the team, but Mike Norvell, and tell me what you guys think about this. Mike Norvell has this pattern with his quarterbacks where when he's done with you, it is actually widely known. And I know he may say what he wants, but I've seen it with Chubba Purdy. I've seen it with Tate Rodemaker. I'm seeing it with Brock Glenn. When guys go in before you, it's like a signal for me. And he's done it over and over and over. Tell me what you guys think. But that's just the bad news. We won 77-3. Clemson was down 7-0 to Troy. This is a beautiful day. Thank y'all. Peace.
Appreciate it, Josh. As always, great calls. It's tied to this contribution from Philip. And thank you very much, Philip. It was great to see you yesterday at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with you, but that'll make that right next time. He says, I can see why Gus was hyped about Sperry.
Yeah.
Future looks bright. Cheers, gentlemen. I think that's not only a Mike Norvell thing. We have to add that it's a Gus thing as well these days.
Yeah, and I think that answers Josh's question right there. I mean, Philip just brought that up in that super chat. Thank you, Philip. He looked good, and we've heard he's been really good, and he is your future. We brought up that before, that you can't just – I get it. Brock got a decent amount of reps out there too, but, I think the future is Kevin Sperry. It's not Brock Glenn, and you've got to put your best player in – build for your future. That's the most important thing right now. So I get it. And yeah, the writing's on the wall. It wouldn't surprise me after this season if Brock goes in the transfer portal. But you know what? You're bringing in more quarterbacks in the recruiting coming in. So it is what it is. That's just modern college football. And I have no problem at all putting your up and coming freshman who's looked really good in practice in there as the number 2. Tom, what do you think?
Look, it's a meritocracy here at Florida State, which is just, it's a nice thing to hear and say and have it be true. I don't think it was a meritocracy last year. There were clearly guys who were dogging it and they still got reps and they still got in-game action. And the Desir twins had to climb over people to play. If Juju Wynn didn't get hurt in preseason camp, he would have played over KJ Sampson. He would have played over Daniel Lyons, I imagine, even for that first game. Now, Daniel played great. He could have earned the spot back. But you just want to have a culture, Gene, where if you're good, you earned it. Because if you did it on seniority, Javen Boggs wouldn't be playing, and Usman Kroma wouldn't be in the fold. You'd just be continually handing it off to a Sam Singleton instead of an Usman Kroma. So that's the way it should be, even at quarterback. But I wonder if Mike is going to try to hedge in terms of his answer in the postgame with his interview in the press conference. But it's hard to do, Gene, because I don't think Brock Glenn's hurt. It's not like if he didn't play at all today, then maybe you'd have something. But Sperry came off second, and he was already in the or position in the depth chart when you're looking at the backup to Tommy Castellanos. So this is no fluke. This was a conscious decision that was made by all involved.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. I have no issue with it whatsoever. Hopefully they're both happy enough, and we hope Brock Glenn stays after the season, and hopefully they're both excelling, and you have both of those guys next year. Hopefully they're both backing up Tommy Castellanos coming off a national championship to try to win them back-to-back, if we're going to think that, positively about the situation. But it's just like you said, it's a meritocracy. It is what it is. You want to put the first thing that came to mind was Patrick Payton. There's a whole big thread in the tribal council right now. If you remember Warchant, you'd go on there and see there's a big discussion about that. Like, why is he gone and all these things? And a lot of people are like, well, I don't understand why he played as much as he did. He was obviously loafing. He didn't care once the season went on. So why was he continuing to play? That's done. Those days are over, and I love it.
Amen to that. And to your point, when you said Tommy Castellanos backing up national championship, Eric Baker is asking this question. I think it's a great question to ponder. Ooh. What's more probable now? We finished the season 8-3, which is 8-4. I'll give you 8-4, or 12-0. 8-4, 12-0. I think at this point, 12-0 is more likely than 8-4. Now, if you said 9-3, let's just say it was a typo the other way. 9-3 or 12-0, and that's a tough one. What do you think, Gene?
I feel dirty even talking about 12-0. We came off a 2-10 season. What are we doing here? I mean, it just feels wrong. If you say 9-3, I'm just so damn conservative on this whole thing. I would have to say 9-3, just because I just can't the first 2 games have been a vacuum. You throw away last season, and we just skip it completely. I would say 12-0. But I just have a hard time getting that out of my head. But everything, the coaching, the execution, the discipline, again, only 3 penalties today, Tom. When a game, it's very easy to kind of, some things could just whatever. You take it easy, you mess up here and there. Man, these guys are so buttoned up. They look like a team that's making a run in a national championship. But we're 2 games in. I hate to jump ahead that far.
Here's the thing. You got a bye week, and you got Kent State on the other side of it. We're going to have some time to ponder questions like that over a beer or whatever it is. You might just be driving down the road.
Talk to me after Miami, and then I think I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Totally fair. Nathan, I think we gave you a shout-out. If we didn't, we really appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much for your contribution. And to James, who says, Gene, where did you get that horse behind you? I want one.
Where is that thing? Where is that guy over here? Oh, here he is.
It's on your left shoulder. I think he's talking about Renegade. Oh, maybe it's a Cimarron, but
one or is this? Oh, the other one. Oh, the other.
Yeah, over your left shoulder. I think. James, you can let us know which one.
Yeah. This one. So that was a gift from my dad years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty special. That's really cool. I don't know where they used to have a place he was down in Tampa. I think it was called Heads and Tails, and it was had Gators and Florida State stuff there. So yeah, I think he got it there. So check Garnet and Gold. You never know if anyone's going to have it, they would have it. But yeah, that's pretty special for me.
Yeah, it feels like antique shop flea market. Like, oh, you strike gold, and maybe you can find it there. Thank you for the contribution, James. We very much appreciate it. All right, we're going to clear our final break here. We'll be back in 90 seconds after this word from T-Spark Enterprises on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show, built by T-Spark Enterprises.
Greatness is built through passion, perseverance, and an unyielding commitment to one's trade. It starts with dedication and the relentless pursuit of perfection. The early mornings, the late evenings, the sacrifices made, all for that one moment of knocking it out of the park. On every job we do, T-Spark, we conquer all peaks.
Back here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show, built by T-Spark Enterprises. We head back to the phone lines, and now we go to Clearwater. Hey, I love seeing a 727 number in the queue. It is Brock in Clearwater. Go ahead. Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. I just want to talk about how physical that defense was today. I mean, they would just dump right in that bag of freshmen and sophomores. It didn't matter. They just got after them all day long.
That they did. It seems to be the identity, Brock, and I appreciate the call. Seems to be the identity. It's forming fast, Gene, that Florida State's going to be a few things. Number one, first and foremost, they're going to be physical. They're going to be a handful for you physically. Straight ahead, side to side, you name it, they're going to hit you. Numbers 2 and 3, they're going to be annoying. This offense, make no mistake, if you're playing defense against Gus Malzahn, it's annoying because he's got tricks. He's got misdirections. He'll pull offensive linemen one way and have the ball go the other. He'll fake that he's having the ball go the other way, and it's actually going to the front side of the action. And then on defense, it's the same thing. Tony White has to be incredibly annoying for the offense because you hardly ever see the same thing over the course of 4 quarters. But, Gene, it's first and foremost that this group's physical. And it's just so nice to watch a team that wants to impose its will physically on both sides of the ball. But to Brock's point, specifically on defense.
Yeah, it's I believe they had I'm looking at 9 tackles for loss in this game. And, I remember one of the very first or second play, and they had a pretty decent run up the middle for a few yards. But he got to a point, and a linebacker came in, or was a safety, I don't remember. But it's like he thumped his ass, and he went backwards on the play. And I'm like, we never saw a play like that at all last season. I mean, every time a guy would be a tackle, it'd be a nice little comfy hug. He'd fall ahead 2 or 3 extra yards on the play. It was very nice. They come to play, man. You're going to earn every yard against this Florida State defense. And like you said, on top of that, not only are they physical, but schematically, they're so much better that they have the offense always trying to figure out what's happening. So, yeah, it was very encouraging. What Tony White has done is remarkable.
And I'll pivot over to the offensive side because I just wanted an excuse to use that beautiful Gus Bus video that director Nick Carlisle has created. So we're going to get that one more time, then I'm going to give you a stat. Let's see what the Gus Bus is all about again.
I just got my ass run over by the Gus Bus.
Yes, you did, East Texas A&M. I apologize to my neighbors here in the penthouse unit. When I first saw that, I was howling so loud, I'm sure they thought they needed to call the police. Thank you to Director Nick Carlisle. Wes brought this up in the chat. He called earlier in the show, Wes in the Villages. But the balance today, Gene. Now, they could have done what they wanted, but 368 through the air, 361 on the ground for Florida State today. Incredible balance. And honestly, without that fumble, you're probably looking at something that is almost 1-to-1, like precisely. Gus could do whatever he wanted today, but I think it was important, Gene, to see that he still, at his core, stuck to his principles, and he hit it on the ground for nearly 400 yards.
Yeah, that's always going to be a Gus Malzahn team. I mean, we go back to Auburn or UCF, it's always going to be the ground game first. And that's one of the reasons why it was brought in and why why is Herb Hand in there? Why he's doing these things? Because, like you said, schematically, what he does, and do yourself a favor from Warchant. First of all, subscribe, hit that thing, hit the bell. Go back and look what Tom and Dominic Robinson went back and looked and broke down some of Gus Malzahn's offenses. That's in there. You can find that, man, just really explains what he does and how he keeps defenses on their heels. You see why he runs the ball so much. And it helps when you have a guy like Danzy occasionally to throw in there to really have that speed when you just at the right time you get them off balance and you got a world-class runner running down their throats.
What I'll do is I'll share that in the chat right now because we do have that ability to work with folks. All of the breakdowns. This is a playlist, and this is a playlist of all of Dominic Robinson's breakdowns that you can find in the chat.
Stuff. If you like football, you geek out on it, the X's and O's, man. It's a thing of beauty.
And he's running it all. That's the thing here. We're through 2 games. I think we can now say it. Dominic is saying this behind the scenes. He won't be mad. It's the same stuff he ran elsewhere. Like, people are talking about, well, Gus is reaching into the bag of tricks and he's doing new things. Nah. He's just refined the things that he was doing at his best at Auburn and UCF because he has all the time in the world. I know he was on a show this week and he spoke about it's like a totally different existence to be an offensive coordinator in this day and age versus being a head coach worrying about NIL and rev share and the portal and all the things that go on on top of the recruiting and the booster functions, all that stuff. All you got to do is turn on the All-22 and be an offensive coordinator, and Gus is off to a flying start for Florida State. So, yeah, by all means, the link is in the chat right now. Go check out the playlist. Dominic is unbelievably smart about this stuff, and he's an asset to the team here at Warchant TV. Our final caller of the night is Michael in Miami. Michael, we welcome you to the program, and go ahead.
Yes, I get in. Hey,
you're in.
You got to have that, like, what is that Tom Petty song? Break down. Go ahead and give it to me. Maybe you guys put a theme song in there or something like that. Listen, I want to say, Mike Norvell, I love watching him coach because at the end there, he was coaching those walk-ons just as hard as he coaches the first teamers, And I think that's really important, man. He shows he walks the walk and he talks the talk. I think 2023 was a hangover. But my question is, do you think in this day and age now, I mean, I know last year they said, oh, no team has ever fallen farther, right? 13 and I'm going to say 13-0, screw them. I'm not even counting the Orange Bowl. But from 13-0 to 2-10, is this the day and age we live in now where, you can go from 2-10 to 12-0? I mean, if you even hit, I mean, not only did he, hit on the portal, I think hitting on the coaches was even more important than the portal guys, if you know what I mean. So I think in this day and age, I mean, it is important to recruit high schoolers, but is this, the live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing that we can live in now, and we can expect maybe these huge swings, from one to the other? Anyway, thanks for my call, man. Take care, man.
It's a wonderful call.
Great call.
There's a lot of good points in there, Michael. And I think one of them, let's start with the coordinators over the players and the acquisitions. We do talk about how they were looking for productivity in the portal. They were looking for, proven college football players instead of guys that had high star rankings coming out of high school. And that's important. But without the standard that they're being held to, Gene, what does it mean? Clearly in the way that these guys play, because a lot of them were here last year as well, the message is different, or the message is resonating differently from the coordinators on down. That's where Mike stuck the landing for this season, was in the coordinator hires, I think.
Yeah, they were. I mean, all things given, considering what your budget was, what last season was, you could not have made two better hires. And I even said that before the season started. But, I mean, you mentioned that, the accountability, Tom. We talked about that a little bit earlier during the show about how that has dramatically changed, and schematically how much better this was. And, I think a lot of it's a communication stuff. When we talked about the button-down nature of this, I remember, especially, it seemed like Adam Fuller defenses, for instance, these guys always had such a hard time communicating. They didn't know where to line up. They're looking to the snaps to the sideline. They don't know where to go. I mean, this was always a problem. For whatever reason, Tony White is able to take his concepts and deliver them in a learnable manner, and then practice it. So these guys go out in the very first game, they know what they're doing, where to go in every situation. That tells you that is superior coaching. We just talked about Gus too. So 100%. And going back to, I'm sorry, the other point of the caller was, I've been saying this for a while. You're going to see these dramatic changes in college football. I mean, last season, who were two playoff teams? Indiana and Arizona State. I think they were both 3-win teams the year before. So we've seen that already. Now, Florida State is the extreme example, going from undefeated to 2-10, maybe undefeated again. I don't know if that happens, if we've ever seen that at any sport, at any level before, a team being this up and down. It's crazy. But no, I think this is a function of the portal, NIL, and obviously with FSU, it's different too, because you completely overhauled the coaches, and you went from coaches that are frankly not very good to elite coordinators on both sides of the ball.
I think if it's going to happen in any sport, it happens in college football in this era. And that's another reason, if 2-10 and it being all taken away from you from the snub, and it was wrongfully taken away, we get that, but then 2-10, that's self-inflicted too. If that wasn't enough of a reminder, look around the country. Gene, you're absolutely right. Michael, the caller, is absolutely right. Embrace it when you're good, because it can leave quickly.
Yeah, the SMU just lost the playoff team from last year.
Yep, they sure did. They lost in double overtime or triple overtime, 48-45 to Baylor. A couple other scores real quick. I know in the ACC, Syracuse survived UConn. Woo. They were a good team last year because they had a quarterback. Kyle McCord was a very good player. They barely beat UConn today. They won 27-20 in overtime. And then also a couple opponents for Florida State down the line here, Virginia, NC State. NC State wins the ball game. They scored 21 points in the third quarter on the way to a 35-31 victory over the Cavs. Florida State will be seeing Virginia 2 Fridays from now. There'll be a lot of content about that on Warchant TV. And then lastly, it was a close game at the half. According to the halftime I saw with the report with Jimbo Fisher was on the desk at ACC Network, Duke was controlling the line of scrimmage, but they were still losing at the half. Illinois pulled away in a big way. 45-19 for Illinois is the final. And a lot of the big games are ratcheting up right now. I know many eyes in Tallahassee and amongst Florida State fans are going to be watching USF in Florida. That kicks off at 4:15. We're almost done here, but I do need to tell you really quickly, as we are in hurricane season, knock on wood, everybody. It has been quiet so far, and we hope it continues to be that way. Certainly Tallahassee has had its share of action the last handful of years, but T-Spark Enterprises highly recommends you consider preparing your roof for hurricanes and other intense storms this hurricane season. Here's a quick checklist to run through. Check your gutters. Check for and remove roof debris. Also, inspect the roof for cracks on the roof's ridges and cracked or damaged shingles. Ensure the flashing is properly sealed and has no holes. Inspect skylights to make sure they are sealed and secure. Check flat roofs for standing water, deterioration, and discoloration. Finally, trim overhanging nearby trees and bushes. It's never too early to do that, because we know things can change over the course of 3-4 days. Where nothing was happening, something is happening. T-Spark Enterprises, outstanding in North Florida, reminds you to make sure to check all of these things ahead of anything popping up in the Gulf. All right, Gene. So through 2 games, Florida State has done exactly what we hoped them to do. I do want to note here an injury update. I know Director Nick put it in the chat, and we wiped it up briefly, but this is according to Mike Norvell in his postgame. He said that injuries to both James Williams and Squirrel White, he doesn't expect them to be long-term. That's not precise, but that's better than hearing Mike Norvell say, I don't know, we're going to have to look.
Exactly. There's some, again, with the rumor, somebody said he broke his wrist or whatever. I think if it was a broken wrist, he'd be out for the year, being a receiver. So, yeah, that's encouraging to hear. We'll try to narrow that down a little bit. Again, we're hoping short term is, the next 2 weeks. I think we're okay with that. Now we get into Virginia, Miami, then it starts to affect potentially some things down the road. So we will keep our ears out, talk to some of our sources, and if you're a Warchant member, subscribe. We will try to impart that information to you as it comes our way.
Are we still doing the athletic promotion, Gene?
Yeah, we are, as a matter of fact. Yes, Tom, you want to throw that out?
I will. Here we go. Join warchant.com for $1 for your first week. Join the largest FSU fan community in the industry. $1 for your first week. Get insights and intel on everything from team reports, perhaps some injury reports, recruiting information. Florida State is making waves. $1 for your first week, and you will be bonused with a year's access to The Athletic. That's a fantastic add-on. We know that many of you, most of you, love Florida State first and foremost, but you got other teams that you care about. Like, I don't know, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers opening in the NFC South tomorrow. Maybe you got a team that's chasing down a pennant or a division title in MLB. You can round out your sports coverage portfolio with a membership to and access to The Athletic for 1 year. It's our way of saying thank you for joining Warchant.com. Going to be a ton of content coming up, Gene, on the website. These next couple of hours, you're going to have Corey's column from the game. Tomorrow morning, you're going to have the PFF report. A lot of players, a lot of grades tomorrow that you're putting together for Florida State on a Sunday morning. You're going to have recruiting intel. Ira's 321 is coming out over the next couple of days. We're going to load it up, and we're also going to do some deep dives in the bye week, Gene, in order to explain how the hell did this happen. I know Dominic Robinson will be by for some of that. We've got a lot of content coming up at warchant.com here in the next 7 days.
And I think it's worth mentioning, I've seen enough people mention, I believe it's Zach, I'm going to pop this up there right now, that Pritchard's father was able to break the rock. I mean, that must have been an emotional moment. And I'm sure that's on Twitter. Hopefully we'll post it on it's probably posted on our message boards on Warchant right now. So really good. And again, to remind everybody that QR code you're seeing right under me, that is to contribute to Ethan Pritchard's GoFundMe, to help them defray expenses and everything else going on and with this horrific shooting. And we're praying for the young man to pull through this. And it was really cool to see his father on the sidelines for the game and apparently also breaking the rock.
So I'll bring this up. Full credit to Florida State University, Florida State Sports Information. This is a positive moment. We're not trying to take any of your shine. Head over to FSU Football to watch the video. We won't play the video, but there is one, and I'm sure it's very special. But there's the photo.
Look at that. That is so cool.
This is a great moment. And look at those teammates. That will, if you're not careful, choke you up just a little bit. I'm going to protect against it as best I can, but that's a human moment, and I hope that is what Ethan does in his recovery.
Yes.
We are all rooting for that. And if you're watching right now on Warchant TV, you have the QR code that's available to you. We put it in the chat on YouTube as well, so it's pinned at the top. If you're on a podcast right now and you're listening to us tomorrow on a Sunday or a Saturday night, I'm going to tell you, Google's your friend. Just go to Google and type Ethan Pritchard GoFundMe, and it will pop up as the first link. Anything you can contribute helps a family who's going through an unspeakably difficult time. And we're happy that Florida State football was able to provide some solace today for all involved. And it looks like that is a powerful moment. I cannot wait to watch that video that Florida State put together, Gene.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a family coming together on that. And I would say I'm just already the outpouring to be well over 100,000 on that and very close to the goal. Whatever the goal is, 135 or something like that, whatever it is, they're going to hit that here soon. So great job, FSU fans. You never let us down in moments like this.
Yuckmouth always leaves us with a closing thought, typically positive, and he says, love how this team celebrates for each other. Really seems like all the players have bought into the team. Excited to watch the rest of the season. Warchant is the best. Well, thank you, Yuckmouth. Go Noles. Yeah, there was a moment in the fourth quarter, I want to say it might have been third quarter, where the defense makes a big play, Gene, and Juice Cryer could not be contained, running down the sideline along with the player who made, I think it was a fourth down stop on the quarterback keeper. I
remember that play, yeah.
Right. Yeah, the kid who makes the stop, Juice Cryer has his helmet off. He's screaming to the mountaintops and celebrating his teammate. That's when you know a team is close together. I can recall
the game's long been over. That's what's impressive about that.
I remember the 2013 team they were like that. They were already done in the second quarter, kind of like today, and they would line up on the sidelines and be shouting and having to be held back by coaches because they were shouting at their teammates to go make the play and get things done. Yuckmouth, that's a great contribution because it's so true. They do celebrate each other. And we celebrate you guys out there, you guys and gals who love Florida State. It's a good time to be a Nole. Suddenly, just like that, it can change that quickly. We hope you're enjoying all the content on Warchant TV. If you are, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Totally free, and we've got a ton of content for you coming up on warchant.com. Gene, any closing thoughts before we sign off this evening?
It's a good time to be a Nole. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, we went through the ringer last year, all of us together, and it was horrific. It was a kick in the nuts. I'm sorry, but it was. But it's so nice, and the fans deserve this. I mean, Florida State Nation is so strong and so good. We've talked about that, and they deserve this. So it's really good to see. And man, I got to pinch myself because it just everything has gone perfectly right so far through the first two games. So let's hope they keep it up. I think they will. I think it's going to be a wonderful season, Tom.
Tony Greco, I love that comment. Let's go USF. I think let's all assemble right now, all of us, en masse. Let's continue to consume Warchant content as you're watching the game on silent. So watch the Warchant wrap, watch the press conferences, all available to you on Warchant TV. And let's all get together and dedicate our thoughts, our hopes, our prayers, whatever it is, to Ethan Pritchard and the Pritchard family. They need you. They need you right now. And we're rooting for Ethan Pritchard to recover in what is an unbelievably tough moment. For Director Nick Carlisle behind the scenes, for Gene Williams, Terry Clark, who screens our calls, all the contributors, whether you brought money to the table or not, you help us be better at Warchant TV, and we appreciate all of your support. And thank you to those who did support us because we can do extra stuff. My name's Tom Lang. We're going to talk to you next time on Warchant Game Day's post-game call-in show in 2 weeks' time. Florida State and Kent State. We'll know the kickoff information soon. Thanks again to T-Spark Enterprises for building today's program. Good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.